One day, your future self will thank you for something that seems almost too ordinary to matter. Not a dramatic workout, not a perfect diet, not some complicated health hack, just the way you walk. Because after 50, a walk is never just a walk. It is a message sent through your whole body. Your muscles read it, your blood vessels respond to it, your heart adjusts to it. Even your brain begins quietly predicting what kind of future you are building with each step. And here's the strange part. Two people can walk the same distance on the same street for the same amount of time, and the one of them is helping their body adapt, while the other is slowly teaching it to become stiffer, weaker, and less efficient. Why? That is the part most people never hear. Stay with me, because some of the most important changes walking creates after 50 happen so silently that you may never feel them while they're happening. What's actually happening is not just movement, it's communication. Every time your foot touches the ground, your body has to organize pressure, balance, circulation, breathing, blood sugar, joint stability, and energy use. Think of it like an orchestra. When walking is done well, each section comes in at the right time. Your calves help pump blood back upward. Your hips stabilize the pelvis. Your rib cage opens, so breathing becomes easier. Your nervous system relaxes just enough to let movement feel smooth, but stays alert enough to keep you upright. And when that rhythm is off, your body does not punish you. It protects you. It shortens your stride. It stiffens your trunk. It asks smaller muscles to do jobs bigger muscles should be doing. It conserves. It adapts. It tries to keep you safe with the tools it has. That is why certain walking mistakes become more important after 50. Not because the body is failing, but because it is listening more carefully to how you use it. A few things make this especially fascinating. First, adults can lose muscle power faster than they lose muscle size, which means the body may still look capable while becoming less springy and less stable. Second, even a short, brisk walk after a meal can help the body handle blood sugar more smoothly. Third, walking speed itself has become one of those quiet health clues doctors pay attention to because it often reflects how well multiple body systems are working together. So today, let's walk through 7 common mistakes that can quietly steal some of the health benefits people expect from walking after 50. The first mistake is walking every walk at exactly the same comfortable pace. This sounds harmless. In fact, it sounds sensible. Many people think, I'm moving, so I'm doing the right thing. And movement is absolutely good. But if every walk is done at one gentle, unchanging rhythm, your body stops receiving a reason to upgrade. At first, a comfortable pace is enough to wake up circulation, blood moves more efficiently, joints warm slightly, the muscles of the legs begin pulling in glucose and fat for fuel. Within minutes, the heart settles into a steady beat that feels manageable. This is wonderful. But soon after, if the pace never changes, the body becomes economical. It says, I know this, I can do this with the least effort possible. That sounds efficient, and it is, but it also means the challenge signal becomes small. Over time, the lungs do not need to expand much more. The muscles do not need to recruit as many fibers. The heart does not need to become significantly stronger. The metabolic engine simply idles. Your body is not being lazy, it is being smart. But health after 50 often improves when the body occasionally gets a gentle reason to rise above idle. That might mean short bursts of brisk walking, slight hills, or even a few minutes where conversation becomes a little less easy, not breathless, not punishing, just enough to tell the system, we still need range, we still need capacity. The second mistake is starting too abruptly. Many people step outside and begin at full speed as if their body is already prepared. But the first few minutes of walking are not wasted time. They are where the body transitions from rest to readiness. Quietly inside your body, blood vessels begin widening, joint fluid starts moving more freely, almost like oil warming in an engine. Your feet and ankles begin sensing ground changes. The rib cage loosens. The nervous system updates balance. If you rush past this phase, the body often responds by tightening. At first, this may feel like stiffness in the calves or hips. Within minutes, breathing can feel shallower than it should. Soon after, posture may collapse a little, not because you are weak, but because the body is still trying to organize itself under pressure. As days pass, repeating this pattern can make walking feel harder than it needs to feel. People then assume they are getting older, when sometimes they are simply skipping the transition their body needs. A slower first 5 minutes is not a sign of decline, it is cooperation. The third mistake is walking with collapsed posture. This one is everywhere. Chin forward, eyes down, chest closed, arms barely moving. The walk becomes small, cautious, and compressed. And yes, sometimes people do this because they are looking at the ground to feel safer. Sometimes because of stress, sometimes because of neck stiffness, old habits, or simply carrying a phone. But under the surface, posture changes everything. When the head drifts forward, the upper back often rounds. When the upper back rounds, breathing becomes less free. When breathing becomes less free, the body often compensates by tightening the neck, shoulders, and lower back. Meanwhile, your hips may stop extending fully behind you, which means your glutes contribute less and the load shifts downward into the knees or upward into the back. It becomes a chain reaction. Here's a simple way to picture it. Imagine walking is like pushing a shopping cart with all four wheels lined up. If one wheel angles sideways, the whole cart still moves, but it takes more effort and never feels quite smooth. That is collapsed posture. It does not mean you need to walk like a soldier. It means you want a gentle lift through the crown of the head, soft eyes forward, shoulders loose, ribs relaxed, and arms allowed to swing naturally. Not forced, not stiff, just organized. If this makes you see your body differently, tap like. Because once you understand what walking really is, you stop judging yourself for how it feels. You begin noticing how beautifully the body tries to help. And that is where things get interesting. Under the surface, walking is also a transfer of force. Not just stepping, not just distance. Force. Your feet receive it, your ankles guide it, your calves recycle it, your hips direct it, your trunk stabilizes it. And when one part stops doing its share, another part quietly covers for it. That brings us to the fourth mistake, taking short, stiff, shuffling steps and forgetting the arms. This is more common after 50 than most people realize, especially if someone has had pain before, feels unsure on uneven ground, or simply spends long hours sitting. The body begins protecting itself by minimizing motion. At first, shorter steps can feel safer, and sometimes they are appropriate, especially on slippery or crowded surfaces. But if that becomes your default pattern everywhere, the body loses something important. Within minutes, the hips stop opening fully. The glutes stay quieter. The ankles become less springy. The calf muscles, which act like a second heart by helping push blood back upward, do less of their pumping work. Arm swing shrinks, and now the trunk rotates less, which means the walk becomes even more rigid. Soon after, walking can feel flatter and more tiring, even at low intensity. Over time, this matters because your body learns whatever you repeat. If you repeat a small, guarded pattern, your nervous system starts treating that smaller pattern as normal. Balance reactions may become slower. Hip power may decline. The whole walk becomes less efficient. Again, your body is not betraying you. It is choosing caution. But it helps to remind it that safe does not always mean small. A natural stride is not a giant stride. It is simply a step that allows the leg to move behind you, the foot to roll through, and the opposite arm to swing without thinking about it too much. Here's a friendly way to understand it. Imagine a kitchen during dinner prep. If the sink, stove, cutting board, and fridge are all working together, everything flows. But if only one corner of the kitchen is being used, the whole process becomes cramped and tiring. That is what happens when you walk without hip movement and arm swing. Too much work gets crowded into too small a space. The fifth mistake is believing that one long walk now and then can make up for a week of sitting. This is one of the most overlooked mistakes because it feels so responsible. Maybe someone does a long walk on Saturday, feels proud of it, and assumes the body has been fully covered for the week. But metabolism does not work like a savings account you deposit into once and ignore. It behaves more like a thermostat. It responds to regular signals. Deepen your circulation. Long sitting hours change the chemistry of the day. Muscles contract less. Blood flow slows. Enzymes involved in handling fats and sugars become less active. Joints stay in one angle too long. The body begins organizing itself around stillness. Then a long walk arrives and helps. Yes, it absolutely helps. But if the rest of the week is mostly motionless, the body keeps spending more time in the low movement setting than in the active one. At first, you may notice nothing. Within weeks, energy can feel less steady. Soon after, stiffness in the hips and back can become more common. Over time, blood sugar control, stamina, and even confidence in movement may drift in the wrong direction. This is why short, regular walks are so powerful. 10 minutes here, 15 there, a brisk walk after a meal, a morning walk to wake up circulation, an evening walk to loosen the hips and calm the nervous system. Consistency teaches the body what to expect, and the body loves expectations it can adapt to. The sixth mistake is pushing too hard, too often, because you think more must be better. This one surprises a lot of people. They finally commit to walking, feel motivated, and start turning every walk into a test. Faster, longer, more days, less rest, more soreness. They interpret discomfort as proof that the walk was effective. But walking is not supposed to leave you feeling punished. Inside the cellular factories, your muscles are making energy, cleaning up byproducts, repairing tiny stress signals, and deciding how to adapt next time. That process works beautifully when the challenge is appropriate, but when effort constantly outruns recovery, the body shifts into defense. At first, this may show up as heavy legs, poor sleep, or unusual fatigue. Within days, your form changes. You may lean forward more, land harder, or start tightening through the hips and lower back. Soon after, joints and tendons begin carrying loads that fresh muscles usually share. This is where old beliefs about exercise have changed. Researchers used to focus mostly on calories burned. Now we understand that walking is also a signal to hormones, blood vessels, immune messengers, and the brain. That means the quality of the signal matters, not just the size. A well-paced walk tells the body, build capacity. An exhausting walk repeated without recovery can tell the body, protect, conserve, tighten. If you finish a walk feeling pleasantly warm, slightly challenged, mentally clearer, and able to do it again tomorrow, that is often a very good sign. If you finish feeling drained, limping, dizzy, or wiped out for the rest of the day, your body may be asking for a better dose, not less effort forever, just a wiser amount. This is rarely explained, especially to people over 50, who are often told two unhelpful stories at the same time. Either take it easy because you're older, or push harder, or nothing changes. The truth sits in the middle. Your body changes when it feels safe enough to adapt. What most people don't realize is that walking after 50 is not only about the heart or the scale, it is also about balance, bone loading, confidence, reaction time, insulin sensitivity, circulation, mood regulation, and something even quieter, trust between you and your body. And that leads to the seventh mistake: ignoring pain signals, shoe problems, and balance warnings because you assume discomfort is just part of aging. This may be the most expensive mistake of all because it teaches the body that its signals do not matter. Pain is not always damage. Sometimes it is temporary sensitivity. Sometimes it is a tired tendon, a stiff joint, a blister forming, a nerve being irritated, or an old movement pattern asking for attention. But when discomfort keeps repeating in the same place, the body is communicating. At first, it might be subtle: a hot spot under the foot, aching at the front of the knee, tightness in the shin, numb toes, lower back fatigue, or a strange sense that one side feels less stable than the other. Soon after, the body begins adjusting around that discomfort. You may roll the foot differently, shorten one step, twist slightly through the pelvis, keep the arms more rigid. None of this is weakness. It is intelligent compensation. Over time, though, compensation can spread the problem. A shoe that feels fine but lets the foot slide too much can change how the knee tracks. A worn-out sole can reduce stability. A fear of uneven surfaces can make the whole body tense. A subtle balance issue can quietly reduce walking speed and confidence long before someone ever calls it a problem. This is why listening matters. If walking brings chest pressure, unusual shortness of breath, dizziness, faintness, or pain that is sharp and persistent, that is a good time to speak with a doctor promptly. If you have diabetes with foot numbness, significant arthritis, heart disease, osteoporosis, a recent surgery, or balance problems, it is especially wise to get personalized guidance before adding brisk intervals, hills, or long distances. That is not fear. That is respect. And respect lets progress last. Now here's the fascinating shift in the science. Researchers once treated walking mainly as a lower body endurance habit. Useful, yes, but simple. Now the picture is much richer. We know that contracting muscles release helpful chemical messengers that influence metabolism and inflammation. We know that brief increases in pace can improve cardiovascular conditioning more than a completely flat effort. We know that posture changes breathing mechanics. We know that walking after meals can help the body manage glucose more effectively. We know that balance and leg power matter enormously for staying independent later in life. In other words, walking is not just transportation. It is one of the most powerful whole-body conversations you can have with yourself. And that means the smartest approach is not perfection. It is awareness. So if you want to turn walking into one of the best health tools of your life after 50, here is what all 7 mistakes have really been teaching us. Do not keep every walk at one sleepy pace. Let some portions become a little brisk. Do not start cold and rush your body before it is ready. Give it a runway. Do not collapse your posture and squeeze your breathing. Let the body stack and open. Do not shrink into tiny guarded steps. Let the hips, feet, and arms share the work. Do not expect one heroic walk to erase 6 quiet days. Use consistency like medicine. Do not turn every walk into a stress test. Recovery is part of the signal, and do not ignore the body when it whispers through pain, shoes, or balance. Those whispers are often protective, not inconvenient. If all of this feels like a lot, take a breath. You do not need to fix everything tomorrow. Start with one thing. Maybe the first 5 minutes of your next walk become slower and softer. Maybe you lift your gaze. Maybe you let one block become slightly brisk. Maybe you add a short walk after dinner instead of waiting for the weekend. Maybe you replace the shoes you have been meaning to replace for 6 months. Small changes count because the body responds to patterns, not grand gestures. Think of it like teaching a garden where to grow. You do not pull the plants upward. You water consistently, give light, protect the roots, and let biology do what biology is designed to do. That is what your body is doing too. It is not sitting there waiting to disappoint you. It is waiting for clear signals. And when you give those signals with patience, your body often responds with better circulation, steadier energy, easier movement, improved confidence, and a deeper feeling that you are still very much in partnership with yourself. That is the real story of walking after 50. Not decline, not damage, not punishment, adaptation, cooperation, quiet upgrades. So the next time you walk, remember, your body is not asking for extremes. It is asking for rhythm, variety, recovery, and attention. If you enjoy calm science, most videos never explain, subscribe and stay curious with me. And tell me in the comments, what surprised you most?